It was about the time you joined that the then bosses decided that in order to whittle down the number of applicants to the right stuff and to the company as a whole, they would set a bar. And the bar was no interviews unless they went to Oxford, Cambridge or Durham. And I had to tell them, this is an amazing new rule because I wouldn't be allowed to work on my own show under those conditions. I was looking at the time for anybody that didn't fit the predetermined, and although you had your Oxbridge connection, the tooting bits to it, oh, maybe you'll be a normal geezer.
So let's rewind a second. Tell me your story. How did a boy from South London went to John Fisher School? Your dad, what did your dad do? He worked in Woolworths.
Yeah.
What did your mum do?
Secretary.
What class would you say you were growing up?
Lower middle class, I would go straight away. I think of myself, what is ordinary is what I think. I went to an ordinary school in an ordinary town with ordinary parents who did ordinary jobs, okay? And I think that's about as representative of the United Kingdom as it is possible to be. When I look back, when I feel that I punctured the glass ceiling, well, I punctured a glass ceiling that held people like me back, ordinary people. Once you get off the merry-go-round of ordinariness and into the elite, you find there are just glass ceilings everywhere else. I can see there's an elite above me which I can't penetrate.
What's that?
I'll reduce it, if I may, to an example that I can give because I know it's true. I myself have been off programmes, pushed off programmes as part of a diversity drive, and I've been replaced by a man of colour. Now, the man of colour was private school educated, and I'm state school educated. And I find it mystifying because although this person is a person of colour, my friends of colour, mixed race, bi-heritage, whatever, they don't relate to him at all because he's not like them. So there's this bizarre notion about what diversity actually is, and I would actually think that lower middle class white people are very poorly represented in television, very poorly represented in many
politics,
major careers, politics, everywhere, really.
What you're saying, really, is that basically there's something about class which is it's the last hurdle.
Because I've seen over my life, it is the barrier that holds back people regardless of colour, creed, gender, class. It is there, it is impenetrable. Why do the people at the top, why are they ever going to want people like you or I taking the jobs that they want to go to their privately educated sons and daughters? If you're going to spend £30,000 a year putting a child through a top private school, you don't want them working in Woolworths either. You certainly don't want the bloke whose dad worked at Woolworths taking the job that you've just spent £150,000, £200,000 paying for your child to reach the standard to get. Which is why I can only imagine the law remains, 75% of top judges private school educated, about 50% of the cabinet privately school educated, 7% of the nation's kids go to private school.
If we're going to make Britain a more meritocratic place where it's easier for people from ordinary backgrounds, working class, lower middle class, whatever, to break into the elite, we need to instill them with confidence.
Yes.
And you can
or give them guns. Because I don't think the elite will ever give way unless they've got guns. Revolution.
Every conversation we've ever had has been in education.
And slightly depressing.
And slightly depressing. Cheers.
Cheers.